So, the second time, a beautiful morning. I try to find my voice to the rising sun and the beauty of the sky and the beauty of the vision of a peace community. And we heard yesterday a very strong matinee of Aida traveling to the fertile crescent, how she calls it. We call it Middle East, or love to call it Canaan. And I expected a bit after this speech that I would take the card Canaan. But it was not. It was the card of this stone, what we call the continuity. And it's also the symbol of the teacher. And for me it's always a miracle to think about what creates reality in our life. And we know about freedom, we know about spontaneous action, but there is something what we call nature law. And if we really have the wish to create field building and the reality of peace, we have to understand this connection between freedom and how to create habits. Imagine all nature laws are habits. And when I was sitting this morning in the cave, I was sitting about this question: what is the habit? What doesn't serve peace? What are my patterns which don't serve peace? And where are the patterns where I deeply believe that by this habit peace will arise? And there, all the ones who did not hear the matinee, it's really worth to listen to the words of Aida, because she went very deep to the inner patterns, what create war in us. For example, I have the habit of jealousy without asking why. I notice, wow, with this habit I'm part of war. Can I change this habit? And how can I change it? And thinking about what is my habit, I felt very strong the real research about what is peace. This is, I would say, is my habit. And from there, feeling the duty to speak if there is wisdom, if you know, and feeling the duty if you don't know, to ask. So this is the symbol of the teacher. And directly on the side there is the student. And the teacher says, I stay a student for all my life, but when I know, I speak. And there we heard yesterday, if we don't speak and stay silent where we know better, and we don't speak because of fear, we contribute towards war. And when I was listening to the words of Aida yesterday, I suddenly felt, wow, when Aida and Frederick will travel to the Middle East, I will start out of solidarity to take white clothes, to stay in prayer with them, and from here find the right thoughts where I feel they are supported. At the 15th, there is the so-called Nakba, and Aida is holding an event where the so-called enemies, the Jewish people and the Palestinian people, which don't want to be enemies, need the protection from far, which don't say they are the guilty ones, but knowing we dare to speak if we see injustice. And I'm with this picture of these thousands of white women in front of Gaza since such a long time now. How can we manifest it? And suddenly the joy of a child came into me, into my soul, that I thought, I start. And I saw white people in front of the embassy in Germany, in front of very places of the Ukraine, of Russia, of Israel, the embassies or the government's places, women in white. And maybe men supporting in white, knowing we want peace on this globe and we want to do what we can in this lifetime. And another habit, what I felt is so deeply, we face so much death at the moment, and we face not natural death. We face death which was imposed. And by learning to integrate death as part of life, I think we will more easily speak if we see injustice. And we know it's part of life, and I think every deep peace worker who went into crisis areas knows that we give our life in the hands of the Supreme, of the Divine. And we will say, I want to survive. Yeah, in this sense, I read the stone and I invite all of us to ask, which are the habits, which are the patterns, which are the inner laws, the divine laws, which really serve peace. And so, if you see me in the coming time in white clothes, I don't have many, I will check how. No, I'm in prayer, knowing that the microcosmos and the macrocosmos is connected. And maybe others feel the call to do the same. And suddenly we see in Berlin people in white, just with this kind of solidarity, with the daring to hold the vision of peace in our heart. And maybe the last words, because there are more and more people daring in the United States, also in Germany, and saying we don't go with this injustice. And there is a lot about anti-Semitism. And if people say we want to support that the killing in Mordor, the genocide in Mordor stops, they are anti-Semitists, but they are not. And this for me is such a deep, deep, important information that we want to support our Jewish friends, that they dare to speak if they see there is injustice happening from a non-human government. I say this as a German woman because when I was young and heard from all the adults that they said, we stayed silent because we did not know, I knew if much more people would have dared to speak, the fascism would not have been possible. And so I embrace our Jewish friends, our Palestinian friends, our friends in Ukraine, in Russia, saying we are all divine beings and we want to figure out how we can inhabit this planet without war. Thank you for spirits, for being with us, and I wish all of us a blessed day. And so thankful for this privilege to live here at a place where we can do the research. That's there. Amen.
Amen.